Well, hello, school counselors and school counselors to be. Thank you guys so much for coming to my channel, The Inspiring School Counselor. And today, you guys, we're going to be getting into the pros and cons of being an elementary school counselor. I have been working as an elementary school counselor for 3 years now. And you guys, I believe I have gained enough experience to just share with you guys from my perspective, just the pros and cons that I come to find when working with this school level. Maybe you're getting ready to graduate in May or maybe in December, and you're just kind of contemplating on what you want to apply first, whether it's high school or middle school or elementary, or maybe you've been working with middle and high school for quite some time now, and you really want to branch out into the elementary setting. But before you just take that leap, you just kind of want to know what to look forward to when working in an elementary school setting. Well, hopefully you guys, with me sharing with you guys just the pros and cons that I came up with, it will help you to decide whether or not the elementary setting is the best fit for you. I want you guys to keep in mind that every elementary school setting is different. So though I'm going to be sharing with you guys from my perspective, once again, the pros and cons, what I do at my elementary school could be very different than what you may do. And so just keep that in mind as you guys are just hearing the different things that I have to say in regards to an elementary school setting. So I'm not going to prolong the time. Let's go ahead and get right into it. If you guys have not subscribed, make sure you subscribe and make sure you hit that notification bell so that you can be notified every time I upload a video. All right, you guys, let's get into it. All right, so we're going to start with the cons and then we're going to end on a good note talking about the pros. And so let's get into it. So the first con that I have written down here is being in the related arts rotation. Now, if you don't know what the related arts rotation is, sometimes it's also even called specials. It's basically classes that students are able to go to. And so that's like art, music, library, PE, and even guidance is intertwined with the related arts rotation. And students are able to visit each class once per week. And so it's just a really great opportunity for the students to get exposure to the arts. And so with that, being in the related arts rotation, I come to find where for me, I was in the related arts rotation when I first started working at the job where I'm at. And so I would teach classes from like 10:30 all the way to 2:40, but between like 11:30 and 12 o'clock, I would have lunch, and then it's back to teaching. Being in that related arts rotation, I seen where it just took a lot of time out, where I wasn't able to do individual counseling or small groups like I want to. There were times when there was a crisis that came up, that maybe a student was having a behavior issue, or maybe I needed to put in a DCS report. But because I was teaching my guidance classes, my principal would actually have to find somebody to come and take over my class so that I can handle the situation. And if we were short on staff, or maybe we didn't have anybody that could just come in, then I had to just continue to teach until I was given time to be able to go and handle it. And that was really hard to be able to do, especially when you know that the students, they need the counseling techniques and resources that you have for them to help them throughout their day. And that's what I really love with my principal, is that she really wanted to make sure that I was being used in the capacity of just everything that I knew how to do. And so she really wanted to free me up and not be a part of that related arts rotation. And so I was able to set my own schedule with when I wanted to teach classes, and I was still able to do my individual counseling in small groups. And so that really worked for me. And that's why I really do encourage you guys, whenever you're working in the elementary setting and you are a part of that related arts rotation, to really just advocate for yourself, talk to your principal and let them know, hey, these are the things that I could be doing, but because I am wrapped up in classes all day, I'm not able to do that and meet the needs of students. Even when it comes down to teaching lessons, that is very much important. But as you guys know, it's just not about teaching lessons all the time. You need 80% of direct services. And even though instruction is a part of that, but you also have group activities that you need to do, as well as individual counseling. The second con that I come to find when working in an elementary school setting, most of the time you are the only school counselor. And so that might be good for some people. They might not mind that, but especially when you are one that is looked upon as doing different events and putting on different celebrations, as well as handling things like 504s and community outreach things. That can be very overwhelming. And especially if you're dealing with situations that you might not know how to deal with, you're not able to easily bounce off ideas off of other counselors. You might have to call around in the school district. And if their schedule is just as busy as your schedule, then sometimes there could be times where you might need those answers right then and there, but you're not able to get it because they're busy doing their own thing as well. So that can be a con. And that's why I come to find is that even though I love that I can talk to my principal or I can talk to other teachers, but it's nothing like when you have another counselor that understands what it is that you do and you're able to bounce ideas off of them and just really be able to collaborate together to bring really good, strong school counseling program. The next thing that I'm going to bring up, which it goes really well with what I just talked to you guys about, is just having that big caseload. As you guys know, whenever you look at the Ask a website, it says that it should be 250 students to one school counselor. And even though that is still a lot, most of the time you'll find where you have school counselors that have big caseloads. Like me alone, I have a caseload of 400 students, but you have some that's dealing with 800 students, 1,000 students. And so that can be very overwhelming, especially if you are the 504 coordinator. When you're dealing with that many students, then you really have to make sure that you're staying on top of those students that have 504s. Now, for me, I probably have a caseload of, I would say about 20, maybe about 20 students that have 504s. And so just being able to keep up with that can be all within itself a task, as well as dealing with other issues that arises up with other students and being able to work with them. When you're working in an elementary school setting, and though you will find this throughout school levels, no matter where you're at, but doing the fair share responsibilities like lunch duty. All right, so that can be very much a con, especially when you are doing lunch duty, when you can be utilizing that time to maybe have lunch with the counselor or pulling others for individual counseling or small groups and things like that. That can be a downside, especially if you're doing lunch duty for an hour out the day. For me, I do lunch duty. However, I do use lunch duty as an opportunity for me to bond with my students and build relationships. And so it still works out for me whenever I am in there, but still there are times where it's like, I can't even go to lunch duty because I have to do a DCS report, or I can't go to lunch duty because there is a student that's having a behavior issue. And so it can just, weigh a lot, especially once again, when you are the only school counselor at your school. So I'm just going to go ahead and segue into the next thing since I've already brought it up, and that is behavior, you guys. Now, I do know that we deal with behavior throughout school levels. Elementary, middle school, and high school. But the thing about it, you guys, is that I feel like in elementary, you really deal with some behaviors where students are hitting you, calling you out your name, just being really more defiant, I just come to find. And it could be just with the demographic that I'm working with. But let me tell you guys, things have been thrown at me. I have been called out my name before. A student has hit me in my stomach before, and thank goodness it was just the first grader and it didn't hurt. But still, you guys, that is still something to really just deal with. And so I just really come to find when working with this, school level, it's just that there's a lot of that, a lot of behavior issues. And a lot of students that's dealing with ADHD and, just being able to help students throughout that. And so that is something that you have to think about it, because let me tell you guys, when I was in graduate school, they did not prepare me at all for the behaviors that I came into when working, at the school where I'm at. And so a lot of things and how to deal with behaviors I had to learn, as I was experiencing it. Now, don't get me wrong. My graduate school did prepare me in the sense of the counseling techniques to use. But, most of the time, those counseling techniques might not work with every student. And so you have to find different ways in order to reel that student in and calm that student. So that is all of my cons. Now we're going to go ahead and talk about the pros. So one of the pros that I absolutely love when working in an elementary school setting is just being able to dress up and just celebrate. So you will find throughout the year when you're working with this school level is that they're going to have different days where you can dress up, whether it's dress up like your favorite book character or, dress up for Halloween, or maybe you could dress up for like Grinch Day. There's also celebrations that take place. You have different parties that's happening and taking place. And I truly just love that. I love that when working in an elementary school setting because it just makes you feel like a kid again. And it's kind of like it gives you permission to just be youthful and just be a kid again. And that's actually the second point. It gives you a sense of youthfulness when you're working with the young kids. I mean, just being able to engage with them, hearing the different things that they're talking about, hearing the different things that they're into, you're able to stay up on and just know what's going on in the world of the young people, and you do get that sense of youthfulness. Another thing that I love about working in an elementary school setting is that when you enter the building, you are like a star, especially if you're incorporating things like maybe a school store, which I have. Y'all, they absolutely love me. I just really love that feel whenever you're working in an elementary school setting because you do feel important. You really do feel love when you have these kids coming up to you and they're saying hi to you and how much they miss you and they want to give you hugs. And so it's just such a beautiful thing. Now, when you're getting up in the higher school level, middle school and high school, you don't see that as much because you will see where most of the kids that's looked upon as being strange, or maybe you just are able to build relationships with them because you are doing scheduling or things like that. And that's why I also want to say, even though being in the related arts rotation is a con for me, but teaching guidance lessons and, and being able to set my own schedule to still teach guidance lessons so that I can meet all students is a beautiful thing because I'm able to build relationships. It is easier when you are in an elementary setting that I come to find to build relationships with your students because you're able to see them on a day-to-day basis. You're able to really engage with them versus maybe in a middle school and high school, because you're not teaching guidance lessons really that much, is that you're not able to really engage with them on a day-to-day basis like you would want to. And so most of the times when you're working in the higher grades or the higher levels, you are seeing them for scheduling, and then you set their schedule, and then you probably won't see them again until it's time to talk about college, and so that is just something to keep in mind. Another thing that I love about working in the elementary school setting is that you're actually able to see kids grow. You're able to see them grow academically. You're able to see them grow emotionally, behaviorally, and some of them might, be growing in a positive way, and some of them might just be growing in a negative way. But you're still able to see the changes take place in their life, especially when you're at a school that is like from, pre-K to, sixth grade, or, kindergarten to fifth grade. However, you're at least able to see them and just see how they are transitioning into be just young little adults as they continue to grow. And so I really do love that. Now, for me, I do work in the primary aspect of elementary school setting. So I'm with pre-K through second grade. So even though I'm still able to see them grow to the extent, but I'm not one to see them get to like the fifth grade level unless I go to our neighboring school and I'm able to see some of those students, which I have been able to, when you're able to just see how they are coming into themselves, into their own identity, and still trying to figure things out. And so it's just a beautiful thing. I do want to say is that if you guys have any pros and cons that you have come to find that I might not have mentioned when working in an elementary school setting, please put that down in the comments below. I would really love to read them, and I actually might do a video where I highlight some of your comments and the things that you guys say and just read it off for everyone to hear and kind of just elaborate on that. So if you guys have not subscribed, make sure you subscribe and make sure you guys hit that notification bell so that you can be notified every time I upload a video. All right, you guys, I'll see you next time.